Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Richard Holligan. I'm a comms manager for SSE Renewables, one of the JV partners in Dogger Bank. Welcome to the Energy Transition Hub, welcome to COP26, and welcome to Glasgow. You can see the Clyde just behind me here. So this is Dogger Bank Bingo. Now I'm just going to put on my bingo collar attire here. So if you just bear with me, who says that there's no glamour at COP26? As you can see, however, eBay does not supply high quality bingo attire for Scottish men of my stature, brought up on a diet of haggis and iron brew. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at the US Embassy's video on Scottish food about the food that they might try while they're at COP26. It's well worth a look just to see the participants' reaction to haggis ingredients at all. Anyway, however, I digress, and now I'm going to introduce you to our hosts for today. Firstly, Leila Vasquez. She's been working with Dogger Bank for almost 2 years, and she is an electrical engineer. And joining Leila is Sam Drury. Sam is our newbie, having joined Equinor in August this year, and he just graduated from university in July. And he is supporting the Prepare for Operations team. So one final thing from me, I get the honour of announcing the winners. You'll hear this most annoying toot of my clown horn when someone has won. And then at that point we'll be able to read out who has won, whether they be in Mexico, Japan, Norway, or here in the UK. So without further ado, I'm going to pass on to Leila.
Thanks very much, Richard, and lovely jacket. So let me introduce you the panelists that we're going to have today. So first of all, we have Steve Wilson, Project Director for Dogger Bank, and we've got Felicity One next to him as the Operations Leader. And now let me pass on to Sam, who will be introducing the bingo.
So how to play the bingo, that's what we're all here for, right? So hopefully those of you who are participating have received your bingo card and instructions on how to play, but I'll just go through a brief overview. So Leila and I will draw some words, and then at home you can tick them off or cross them off online. When you have achieved a bingo, if you can send your name and your ID, your bingo card ID, to info@doggerbank.com, and then our lovely behind the scenes work will get that to Richard, who will be able to announce you as a winner. And for our prize winners today, we will be in touch with you after the event to make sure that you receive your model GE Haliade X wind turbine. So without further ado, shall we get started?
Let's go.
Oh, nearly.
First one out.
And it is PPAs. Felicity, what can you tell us about PPA? What does it stand for?
What are PPAs? These are power purchase agreements. And it's effectively an agreement that we have set up with companies to buy the electricity we produce from Dogger Bank. So for Dogger Bank, we have 4 15-year PPAs in place with Ørsted, Shell, Dansk Commodities, and with SSE as well. And they effectively become like off-takers of our electricity.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
PPAs. There you go.
This is a tense part.
Exciting.
I probably have my hand next time.
Just thinking.
Hey, it worked. And it is...
Number 16, which is back to you, Felicity. What can you tell us about yourself?
About me? Oh, great, yeah. I'm Felicity One. I have worked for Equinor, which is one of the JV partners in Dogger Bank. I've worked for Equinor for around almost 8 years now. I actually joined Dogger Bank in September only, so I've been in this role a couple of months. And previous to that, I worked on an oil platform. I worked on Mariner, which is one of Equinor's oil and gas platforms in the North Sea. So really excited to be part of the energy transition, actually, myself. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Felicity. Oh. And it's 22. Oh, Felicity, you again. Port of Tyne.
Port of Tyne. I'm getting them all at the moment, yeah. Right, Port of Tyne. Port of Tyne is where I'm located, actually. It's where the Dogger Bank operations and maintenance base and team will be located. Port of Tyne is based in South Shields, just outside of Newcastle. And it has a really strong history of shipbuilding and handling coal, and more recently though is really turning towards green energy. Port of Tyne was selected because of its approach to sustainability and also its net zero ambitions as well. So Dogger Bank have established a really good partnership with the port, and we really look forward to working with them for years and years to come, for decades to come. And it's also great in that we will be able to create, I think, through the port around 200 jobs, mostly through GE as well. So yeah, really exciting times, and I've just moved to the area actually. So working out of Port of Tyne, it's a really fun and exciting place to be.
Yeah, and your grandparents, your grandfather from the Port of Tyne?
Yeah, that's right. He was a plater in the Port of Tyne, worked on shipbuilding there. So yeah, it's come full circle, much to the amusement of my family. So yeah.
Round.
I wonder if Steve will get one this time.
I know.
No, I'm just desperate to talk, Richard.
Oh.
We'll get it.
Oh,
Here's them.
33, STEM. So, I can talk a bit about STEM. So STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths. So as part of the Dogger Bank project, we're really happy to provide 50 scholarships to people who are studying STEM careers. But beside that, STEM is all about community engagement as well. So we're actually working with 25,000 youngsters over the timeline of the project so far, to engage with them, to tell them more about STEM, to get them interested in STEM careers, and to get them used to maybe what will be like life in a net zero world. I think that's STEM.
Great.
Good. Let's see if this one goes for you.
Got the hang of this, Sam.
Hey.
So, good. Number 10, communities. Steve, over to you.
Communities. Well, Dogger Bank as a project affects a number of communities, and we hope very positively. So we have a landfall for Dogger Bank A and B, East Riding of Yorkshire, and then for Dogger Bank C in Teesside. So we're engaging with the communities in a number of different ways. First of all, we have to work with them as we build the project and make sure that we are conscious of their needs when we are actually undertaking construction work on across the cable routes. But then also what we want to do is set up some funds that will actually support the communities in different ways. So touching on what Sam said about STEM, we've put in place a fund during construction which is roughly £1 million. And that will be used to support STEM initiatives and STEM subjects across secondary schools, also primary school age, and then also for the what Sam was mentioning with people who are going into tertiary education. And then in operations, we hope to invest potentially over £20 million in our community benefit and community support funds as well.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Oh, missed it. Oh.
Well,
you've got
what
three
have I done
in a
now?
row now.
when the time comes.
And it is 7, Steve again. Archaeology.
Archaeology, my favourite subject. So archaeology. So funnily enough, we're not the first people to be going through these sites as well. So one of the things that we have to do as a responsible developer is make sure that we see what existed in the past along the cable route. So we undertake a lot of archaeological work, principally onshore, to start with. So if we find anything of interest, we have a team of specially trained archaeologists who will look at it, confirm what it is, log it. Some instances we might have to work around that. In other instances, we can just proceed with construction. But a very important part of what we do. Also offshore as well, we have to confirm if we've got any archaeological artefacts in the offshore area, both on the cable routes that we've got and also within the wind farm. And again, if we find anything of interest, we may have to avoid it or potentially in some instances recover it and log it as well. So very important part of what we do in construction.
Brilliant. Thanks, Steve. So, going on to the next one, number 27, and it's 130 kilometres plus. Felicity.
130 kilometres.
Is that how far you travelled today?
Yeah, almost. No. So 130 kilometres is how far away Dogger Bank is from the shore. And when we have a field that's kind of so far away, you can imagine that there are some real challenges, and telecoms is one of those challenges. So the whole area of Dogger Bank is around the size of London almost, and so we have to set up these communications that will work between vessels, between work parties, and obviously with the control room on shore as well. In order to do that, we've invested in the latest technology, both for voice and data. So we'll be using VHF and UHF radio via Tetra, but we'll also be setting up our own private 4G network, as well as our own wireless network for this site. So huge challenges, but really exciting that we get to do those things as well. Yeah.
And so you don't miss out on the rugby or the cricket.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second, maybe just to have a quick part of the introduction. I'm getting some reports that people can't actually see us. I don't know.
The Renewable UK YouTube account.
Yeah, so if you go to the Renewable UK YouTube account, you should be able to watch there and play along and hopefully win a prize. Okay, if you can continue now.
Yeah.
So the next one is timeline. Steve, what can you tell us about the timeline of the project so far? Where have we come?
So to develop a project like Dogger Bank, it takes quite a lot of time, unfortunately, probably too much time. So we started our journey in 2009 when a consortium which included SSE Renewables and Equinor's predecessor company Statoil at the time took on the Dogger Bank zone as part of the Round 3 leasing with the Crown Estate. So there's obviously a lot of work then in getting a consent in place for the project, which took about 6 years. So in 2015, there was a development consent order awarded for the 3 phases of Dogger Bank. In fact, there was 4, which also includes the Sophia wind farm, which is being developed also. But Dogger Bank A, B and C got their consent in 2015. Moving on 3 years, 4 years actually, to 2019. The 3 phases were actually competing in the AR3 contracts for different auction round, and they were successful in getting contracts within that. And then in 2020, Dogger Bank A and B started construction, and in November 2020 they reached financial close. So that's when we can bring in the financing necessary to construct the project. And now we're in construction in all 3 phases, and we're looking to get to financial close on DBC at the end of this year.
Exciting.
Brilliant. Go on, Megan. You have a
Spin for the balls.
Okay. Right. I think this one is for you.
Number 4.
Number 4 to you.
Yeah, but I'm not going to speak about it, but it's 70%. What's 70%, Steve?
70%. That is a number between 69% and 71%. So there we go. 70% is that's actually the weight reduction that we've managed to achieve on the offshore converter station platform. So I think if we think back to before Dogger Bank and the use of HVDC, so high voltage direct current technology. It's been used in a lot of European wind farm developments as a hub, so a number of wind farms coming into a single platform. The weight of that is about, these platforms was about 20,000 tonnes if we put it in context, and that really makes its use on a single offshore development uneconomic. So working with companies like Hitachi Energy, we've introduced HVDC light technology, and we've also developed what's referred to as a minimal facilities platform design. So that's taking out all of the bits and pieces on the platform that you don't need, so it's low maintenance. And what we've managed to do through that is reduce the weight of that platform by 70% per megawatt of energy going into it. So for a 1200 megawatt phase of Dogger Bank, the platform weight is now 8,500 tonnes, so taking off almost 12,000 tonnes of weight, which does make it commercially viable and does make it economic.
I'm just going to butt in there just for a second. We've had a message from our avid viewers. asking for us to recap the numbers. So, because some people have watched all the way through, others haven't. So, if you could just read the numbers that have come out so far, that would be, or the words, that would be fab.
Sure. So we've just had 70%, and then going backwards, we have had archaeology, we have had communities, we've had timeline, we've had Felicity. Gave us a lovely introduction. We've had Portatine. We've had 130 plus kilometres. We've had PPAs, and finally STEM. So hopefully that's given you some extra ticks on your bingo cards.
Great stuff. Well, we can kick it off again
We're good.
for the next.
Let's get spinning.
And just to add a little bit on the offshore platform, it's quite interesting to see the progress that is being made in Thailand with DBA almost structurally complete and DBB taking shape, which
Absolutely.
is good.
Yeah, no, it's looking great. It's good to see that big steel box there and ready to put all of the very expensive electrical equipment in it now.
Definitely, yes, which will be a quite interesting part of it.
Despite all the challenges that COVID has tried to throw at us.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
Things
yeah.
that were passed.
No, that's great. Yeah. And the next one is 13, CFD. What does CFD stand for? Computational fluid dynamics?
No. So is this me again now? Is this
It's me,
Is it-
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yes.
it's you
So
too, yeah.
contracts for difference, or computational fluid dynamics, if you put a big F in it. So contracts for difference. So that is what's referred to as the revenue support mechanism that the UK uses. So Felicity mentioned PPAs. So CFDs are actually government-backed contracts which are 15 years in duration. Each of the three phases of Dogger Bank has secured a CFD contract in the auction round in 2019, which is referred to as AR3. And the first two phases, we're getting probably just over £39 per megawatt hour of electricity generated. The third phase gets over £41 per megawatt hour of electricity generated. And what that does is, as a mechanism, it allows the shareholders in the company and the people that will put in equity to the project to get confidence that they can spend that money at risk, and they'll be able to then develop the project long term. And it also allows funding and again finance that Felicity mentioned. So banks have the confidence that you have a government-backed contract, they will invest money in the project, and they will do it at a rate which makes the project commercially viable. So CFD is a very important part of renewable development in the UK and offshore wind in particular.
And that number, or those numbers you quoted, £39, £41 per megawatt hour, those have come down significantly over the years, maybe even by 70%?
They have. They've
I
come down a long time. So the first CFDs in the UK were between 140 and 155 pounds a megawatt hour, and unfortunately those good times are gone. So offshore wind is now probably the most efficient and economic form of generation that we can get in the UK. And I think those strike prices in the CFDs will continue to get lower. So we can see numbers maybe even approaching £35 in the next auction round.
Roll those balls.
Let's get them going.
You've been
Go for
desperate
it,
to see that all day, Richard.
It's like a
Right. Number 25, which goes back to Felicity with jobs.
Jobs, yeah. For us at Dogger Bank, jobs are a huge part of what we're doing. So overall in the UK, we will create around 8,000 jobs, and that's through the construction and the operations phase as well. But it's not just about jobs for now and the next 35 years. As you referred to earlier, we're investing a lot in STEM projects. So it's about creating jobs for future generations as they inevitably grow up in a net zero world. Specifically at the Port of Tyne, I think I mentioned as well, there'll be local jobs as well, around 200 created through GE as well, and some of the work they're doing, as well as down in Teesside where some of our blades will be constructed. So yeah, there's lots of local impact, but also wider in the UK as well, which is really, really good to see.
Yeah, and Steve was mentioning earlier how we've started in 2009, or that's maybe when Dogger Bank dates back to, and we're continuing for, well, now until 35, maybe 40 years in the future. So these are jobs for decades, which is really great.
They are indeed.
Next one is blades. Felicity,
Blades, yeah.
tell us about the blades. All about blades.
So with the world's largest offshore wind farm, you can imagine that the structures themselves are massive, and the blades are as well. So the blade of a GE Haliade X is around 107 metres long, so that is longer than Big Ben is taller, and they weigh over 50 tonnes, so they're absolutely massive. They're made of kind of mostly composite materials, and really pleased to learn that new LM wind technology, they've been granted planning permission for Teesside, where they'll be manufacturing most of the blades that we'll be using. So yeah, really exciting stuff. And yeah, the scale of the turbines themselves are just phenomenal, really big. So yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a good opportunity to point out that you can actually sign one of the turbines or have your name put on one of the turbines at Dogger Bank if you go to sign the turbine at the sse.com website. But yeah, if you want your name on one of the turbines at Dogger Bank, go there and you can add your name. That's just a shameless plug from a PR person. Also, I'm hearing that we're actually going out on the Renewable UK's YouTube channel now, so we do need another numbers recap because some people haven't seen what we've been doing. So if you go through the words rather than the numbers, that'd be great.
Yes, no problem at all. So we had 70% archaeology, communities, timeline, CFD, Felicity, blades, Port of Tyne, jobs, 130 plus kilometers, PPAs, and STEM.
Very good. Ready to spin again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Let's get spinning.
Go for it.
And we have ripple effect. Steve,
Ripple effect.
what are we talking about?
So ripple effect, we obviously have quite a significant supply chain on Dogger Bank. So that's across the world, so global supply chain. Leila was mentioning Thailand, but also we have some significant elements of the supply chain that are being developed in the UK. So again, Felicity mentioned the LM Blade facility, which Dogger Bank is providing the seed order for. But also we're seeing a ripple effect through not only the large Tier 1 contractors that we've got, but also down into our Tier 2 contractors. So great examples of that are companies like Metec, who are providing the cathodic protection system for the foundations that we've got on Dogger Bank. We have Granada Cranes, who are actually providing the cranes that go into the transition pieces used to lift equipment. We're also, as a consequence of Dogger Bank, investing over £30 million in the offshore wind growth partnerships. So, projects like Dogger Bank have a significant impact not only on those large Tier 1 contractors that we award, but also right down to those Tier 2 contracts, and that supports jobs. It provides sustainable growth in the UK, and it's part of Building Back Better, which Dogger Bank is supporting.
And another one was I can't remember if you mentioned the £270 million investment into the SUVs based in Aberdeen.
That's absolutely
and
right. Yes.
ripple effect down to Alicat.
Yes, our daughtercraft manufacturer as well. Yeah, that's a really good example, Sam, as well.
Great stuff.
Let's see what we've got. So 203, and we're going to O&M base, Felicity.
O&M base. Yep, so O&M base is our operations and maintenance base. It's located at the Port of Tyne, as I mentioned earlier, and it's a brand new hub for Dogger Bank. So the base consists of a large office space where we'll have all the operations and the maintenance team there, as well as a warehouse area at the back, and then a quayside that our SOVs will pull up to as well. So to be built in Port of Tyne, and the hub itself, the base, will be net zero, and we're really excited that it will be built out of recycled materials, will not burn any hydrocarbons for heating and things like that. We'll use solar panels during the construction phase and use really smart systems to make sure we're as environmentally friendly as possible. The base will probably house around 200 people, and including the warehouse is around or just under 3,500 square metres. So a really big base, and we're really looking forward to it kind of becoming like kind of the central hub for Dogger Bank and all the operations for it there, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to
Spin
seeing
that
it.
wheel.
Go on, Leader.
Let's see. There you go.
14. Ownership. Who owns Dogger Bank?
Ownership. Who owns Dogger Bank? Well, so Dogger Bank has got 3 shareholders, and that is SSE Renewables, who own 40%, and they're responsible for the construction of Dogger Bank. We have Equinor, New Energy, who are also own 40%, and who will be responsible for operating Dogger Bank. And then we also have ENI, who are a 20% shareholder now. Up until this morning, they were a 20% shareholder in Dogger Bank A and B. Just announced this morning they've taken a further 20% ownership in Dogger Bank C. So we've got the same shareholders across the 3 phases of the project, which is fantastic news. You know, we look forward to continuing to work very closely with the shareholders as we deliver Dogger Bank and make it a successful project.
I'm just going to interrupt again. Leila, perhaps you could pass me your words, and I'm going to give a bit of a slower recap we've been asked to do, so you're just being a bit too fast. Oh, will I be able to tell?
No, you would only be able to tell if you look at the
I'm going to
bingo
no, I'm not going to
balls.
move. If you can just give quite a slow recap then of each numbers, of each word, that would be really helpful to the people at home.
We've obviously got some very competitive people out there.
No, I like this. This is very good, yeah.
Looking forward to winning the bingo. Okay, I can go through those. So we've got 70%, we've got archaeology, communities, timeline, CFD, ownership, ripple effect, Felicity, blades, Port of Tyne, O&M base, jobs, 130 plus kilometers, PPAs, and STEM.
Okay.
That's it so far.
Hopefully everyone worldwide has got those words. We'll be having a winner soon. But in the meantime, spin that wheel.
Back to spinning. And it is OCS. What does OCS stand for, Steve?
So that is the Onshore Converter Station. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, Dogger Bank is using high voltage DC technology, which I'm sure Leila would be much better placed giving us a very technical explanation of. So that converts the AC power offshore to HVDC. Really important because we need to push that power over 150 plus kilometres, in some instances 200 kilometres from Dogger Bank C, to the onshore converter station. And the purpose of that onshore converter station is really to take that power, in very simple terms, clean it up, so get rid of all the things that we don't want in there, like harmonics, and actually convert it back to high voltage AC, HVAC. And what we do then is export it to the national grid substations that we connect into. So for Dogger Bank A and Dogger Bank B, that's Creekbeck, and for Dogger Bank C, we're in Lackenby substation. So that is the onshore converter station. And there are many other different components of it, but I'll leave Leila to cover those when we get to HVDC, I would suggest, Sam.
my favourite word of the entire bingo. But yeah, I was actually there 4 weeks ago at the Onshore converter station close to Hull, which was brilliant. We were there with the Hitachi Energy team, first time seeing them in person, so it was very good after a year and a half. And yeah, very impressive to see all the most of the foundations at least in place, in particular the transformers that are massive, and soon hopefully starting with the steelworks. So good to see the progress.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Give us another ball.
Steve again.
You're getting good at this, Sam.
Oh yeah, thanks. Maybe a career changes then in the line. UXO, it's another three-letter acronym.
UXO, so Unexploded Ordnance. So through many, many years, there has been potentially unexploded ordnance that could be left in a lot of areas of the seabed in the UK. So one of the really important things that we do before we do any construction work on site is we have to survey the relevant parts of it, so our cable routes and the wind farm site itself. We even have to do some of this onshore as well. We have to do some UXO surveys. And what that does is it uses a device called a magnetometer, which identifies any metal that's in the seabed that could potentially be unexploded ordnance. And then we get an ROV to swim down to those contacts, and we confirm whether they are or are not unexploded ordnance. And then we have to potentially dispose of them, and there's various different ways that we can do that, or we avoid them. So we try and avoid detonating anything. We don't want to do that. So we use safe methods, which basically make the unexploded ordnance safe, and it protects marine mammals if we do that. And as a responsible developer, that's one of the key things that we should be striving to do.
Absolutely.
So that is unexploded ordnance.
Thank you. Go on, Lee.
Just to say, we've had 2 people claiming they have bingo. So far, no, and they don't.
Okay. False alarm.
False alarms.
False alarm.
Eager beavers.
Okay. 26, and that is digitalization.
Digitalization. Digitalization for Doggerbank is key. Doggerbank will be a digital flagship. And what's really important is that digitalization is actually the cornerstone of how Doggerbank reaches its strategic goals. So we'll use kind of within operations, we'll aim to optimize using digital tools and systems in order to increase availability, to decrease OPEX, and to lengthen the life extension of the wind turbines and get the most out of them that we can. But it's not just within the wind farms, it's also the SOVs themselves as well, have a lot of kind of high-tech decision-making components on board, as well as the gangway that we plan on using is very high-tech as well. So yeah, digitalization is so important and really kind of the key to delivering on our strategies, yeah.
I'm just going to point out that unfortunately, like many bingo games that your grandmother may play, there's no prizes for a line. I've been asked to put that out there. So yeah, you
full house only. Yeah,
you do actually have to get full house only before you'll get a prize. So without further ado, let's have another ball.
We should be getting there soon. Yeah. Also, to add to Felicity, I think condition monitoring has been also a very big part of the design throughout this last year. I think it's your turn.
Is it mine? Go for it. 3. Foundations.
Foundations.
Steve.
So Felicity talked about big blades. We have obviously the largest turbines that you can deploy on any offshore wind farm. So we're using the Haliade X 13 megawatt and 14 megawatt turbines. And to support those large turbines, you need big foundations. So, and those are basically what are driven into the seabed and will support the turbine during its operation. So for Dogger Bank, we really pushed the boundaries of engineering, and we have designed monopile foundations, so what are referred to as XL monopiles, so really large tubular steel foundations, which are about 8.5 metres in diameter, so absolutely massive. They have a wall thickness of around 80 to 100 millimetres. And those are driven into the seabed by using a large hydraulic hammer. and then we put on a transition piece on top, and that basically forms the connection between the transition piece and the monopile, which is bolted, and then we can bolt the turbine tower onto the transition piece. So these things, weigh at least 2,000 tonnes plus. Large, complex steel structures in the transition piece. We are in Doggerbank. The Doggerbank itself, whilst it's a shallow sandbank, there's a lot of deep water surrounding it, so we get large waves that come from that deep water into the shallow water, and that presents a number of challenges for our structural engineers to make sure that the secondary platforms that are on the transition pieces are able to withstand waves which could potentially be 10 to 12 metres in some instances. We won't be out there working, obviously, in those conditions, and definitely we don't want Felicity out there working in those conditions. But the structure itself needs to be safe when the service and operations vessels turn up to transfer personnel, and that's been one of the key focus areas for the design team during construction. So that is foundations.
Yeah, and you say that we can't go if there's 10 metre plus waves, but we can go, I think I'm right in saying, if the wave height is about 3 metres, which is testament to the advanced technology that we have on the SOVs and their gangways and their stabilisation there, which is great. And I think we're right in saying there's already been a few foundations, a few monopiles
we've
made.
got over, I think we've got about 15 monopiles that are now complete. So they are in Rotterdam, manufactured by a company called SIF. And we're just in the process of starting to put together the first transition pieces in Hoboken, which is in Belgium. That's a company called Smolders that are going to be manufacturing those.
Great stuff.
Right, let's get snappy. We need to get a winner.
You're dying to blow that horn.
You're so impatient, Richard.
Okay, next one is 277. What can you tell us about that?
It's just been mentioned, I think, 277. Yep, that is the number of wind turbines that we'll have across all 3 phases. Doggerbank A, B and C altogether will be 277. These wind turbines are phenomenal in scale. We've talked about large blades, and I think the swept area of the blades alone is equivalent to about 4 football pitches. It's massive. We've talked about large foundations, but the turbines themselves actually as well are huge. They're about 260 metres tall, so to give you some scale, I think it's the London Eye, Big Ben and the Angel of the North stacked one on top of the other, that size. Or in Glasgow terms, it's 10 of the SEC armadillos, all one on top of each other. So they're absolutely massive, massive structures. They are manufactured, they're made and supplied by GE, who are working for us on the project. And we're so excited to be working with them. This is the first time that the Haliade X has been used. So the new technology, the new development and manufacture of it is really exciting, and we're just kind of keen to get going and see how they perform. So yeah.
And if our mashup comparison of Big Ben, Angel of the North, London Eye, or 10 armadillos isn't enough, then if the turbine was on land, it would be the 3rd largest building in the UK, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If that gives any scale.
Certainly does.
Just behind the Shard and something else. Anyway, next word is sustainability. Felicity.
Sustainability, yes, that is me. So we reach our sustainability goals in a number of different ways. So first of all, environmentally, we've talked already about the O&M base being a net zero base, and kind of the way we'll power it and everything like that will be carbon neutral. Also, looking at sustainability, in terms of UK power. So Doggerbank is really cementing and providing security of supply for the UK's electricity grid. But then also thinking more longer term, it's around sustainability within communities. So leaving a really long-lasting legacy in South Shields, Port of Tyne, and other areas of the UK where we're creating these jobs and things. So yeah, sustainability all round, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next word.
Go on, Leila.
We've got a bingo.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
Supposedly on our YouTube feed, Lewis Harassman.
Okay. I think I might wait for the official.
For the official confirmation. Okay. We've got now Voltaire.
Voltaire. we'll not enter into 18th century philosophy lessons at the moment, but instead what Voltaire refers to is our jack-up vessel that we're going to be using. So Jean Denot's manufacturing the world's largest wind turbine jack-up or installer for us, and that will be ready next year in 2022. The jack-up has a 3,000 ton capacity and will be the world's largest, and we are so excited that it will be working for us, and it will be installing all 277 wind turbines.
I think just touching on the sustainability point as well, it's actually one of the first ultra-low emission vessels as well.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
So it's with its engine, it's got a particulate reduction filter as well within its exhaust system. So it's first of all reducing the overall carbon footprint of developing the project, which is fantastic. As you said, it's its payload of 5 turbines.
Yep.
Really, optimises the logistics of building a wind farm like Dogger Bank, particularly when you've got those big 13 and 14 megawatt turbines, and you've actually got to try and install them in the most efficient way.
And even when it's at the quayside, I think it hooks up to the supply,
Yep.
so it doesn't burn any fuels when it's alongside as well. So yeah, it has a really good record on that.
Power from shore from solar panels.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. And it could be Richard's stage name as well.
What was that?
Voltaire.
Voltaire, yeah.
The great Voltaire.
I think something more down market, to be honest. Would probably suit me in this jacket. But I think we'll have another ball. Just looking, we may have a bingo on the horizon, but we're just speaking with adjudicators as we continue to play. So yeah, another ball would be good.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder on how to confirm yourself as a winner. Just email info@doggerbank.com. That email is in the email that contains your bingo card. Send an email to that email address with your name and the bingo card ID, which will be a number between 1 and 100 and on the top of your bingo card. And that hopefully will get through to Richard, who will be able to blow the clown horn, which he's been dying to do ever since we started this
We'll have at
session.
least one winner before 12:30 when we
So for the sake of Richard, please win.
we're being asked to have another recap of the words. So
Well, that's going to be a longer one.
yeah, Leela, if you could go for that, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. So we've got foundations, 70%, OCS, archaeology, UXO, communities, timeline, CFD, ownership, ripple effect, felicity, 277, blades, Voltaire, port of Tyne, O&M base, jobs, digitalization, 130 plus kilometers, PPAs, sustainability, and STEM.
And just a reminder, there's no prize for the live. It is full house only. Okay, if we could have another number, please.
Go for it, Sam.
And the next one is number 6, onshore update.
Onshore
Give us an
update.
update, please, Steve.
So onshore construction on Dogger Bank actually started in March 2020. So as part of our consent, we had to commence construction then. So we started building some of the access roads that will be used for construction along the cable route. So since then, we've started the process of building out the onshore cable route on Dogger Bank A and B, and that's been done in parallel by Jones Brothers. So that process involves installing the ducting. So it's a polyethylene pipe that's put into the ground. And then that's what the cable is pulled into. But it sounds very simple, but there's quite a lot of complexity to that civil construction project. We have to cross a number of geographical features, so we have to use what is called horizontal directional drilling. So we basically drill that pipe under everything from canals to rail lines, and then we also have to put the piping in. Ensure it's installed properly and clean, and then pull the cables in. So we started installing our first cables in June this year, and we're now up to approximately 12 kilometres of cable installed on Dogger Bank A and B. and we will recommence work early next year to complete the route. So we intend to complete the cable route by the end of next year. As well as that, Leila mentioned the onshore converter station. So we've completed the platform, so basically creating the flat ground base that will be used to construct Dogger Bank's A and B's converter station. And Hitachi Energy and their subcontractors have started works on the civil construction there. So making really good progress. We've got a lot of the foundations in and the concrete bases. Again, Leila mentioned we're going to be starting the erection of steelwork on site within the next month. And we're hoping that we start to get buildings wind and watertight early part of next year. And then that will progress through 2022 until we've got an onshore converter station that can be energised probably the early part of 2023. Dogger Bank C as well, not to leave that one out. We've also got the onshore converter station work started on Dogger Bank C. So again, Jones Brothers working hard to finalise the platform there. And then hopefully very soon we'll award the contracts for the HVDC cable works on DBC as well.
We've got about, I would say, just under about 10 to 15 minutes of playtime left, so I think we're going to keep the answers a bit snappier now, see if we can get a bingo.
Righto, Richard.
Let's see.
Let's get going. 21. Site conditions.
Site conditions, right. So we've mentioned already that Dogger Bank's about 130 kilometres out to sea, where the sea temperature is between 2 to 18 degrees. The air temperature can range between -6 to 24. The depth 10 to 35 metres, or 20 to 35 metres rather. But most importantly, a higher than UK average of wind speed. So it's around 10 metres per second or around 20 knots is the average wind speed there, which is crucial for us, obviously.
I should remember that. What a geek. Right.
Yeah, kudos there. Number one.
Number one.
Number one means, Steve, you get to tell us about yourself, your
Oh,
role.
it's Steve.
Steve. So,
Steve, Steve is the word.
So Steve is the word. So Steve Wilson.
And the man.
Indeed. So I'm the project director for Dogger Bank. Career-wise, I started working with SSE about 11 years ago, or over 11 years ago now. So I transitioned from a role in the oil and gas industry in Australia, actually, and came back to work in Glasgow. So I've been involved in all three of SSE's offshore wind farm projects, so Greater Gabbard, Beatrice, and Dogger Bank.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Next ball, please.
Go on, Leila.
Okay, let's go. It's number 11, and innovation for you, Steve.
Innovation. So Dogger Bank is a very, very innovative project, and to be competitive, we talked about CFDs, winning CFDs, you need to actually be able to innovate, and we're doing a lot of things for the first time, which can be a little bit scary. Makes life very interesting. So we've got, just recap, we've got the GE turbines that we're using, 13, 14 megawatt Heliade-X, first time they're going to be installed on any project. We've got the offshore converter station, the reduction in weight there, commercialising HVDC technology, and it's the first time that HVDC has been used on any project. We've got the Voltaire jack-up vessel, we've got the Alpha Lift, which is the foundation installation vessel that we're going to be using. Just some of many firsts in all the innovation that we're doing on Dogger Bank.
He was dying to do that.
We have bingo. So Matthew Ord from Teesside will be the lucky recipient of a model wind turbine. Let's keep playing and seeing if we get some more answers.
Well done.
$35. Doggerland. What is Doggerland? So Doggerland was Doggerland was the area of land which connected the UK to Denmark. It was like a long strip of land, and this was around 8,000 BC perhaps, and then the ice age happened, melted, a glacier melted, sea level rose, and then what was left was an island which we can call Dogger Bank, and that was maybe around 5000 BC-ish. And then sea levels rose a little bit more, and what we have is an area of land, Dogger Bank, still now underwater, 20 to 35 metres, as Felicity was saying. So that's Dogger Bank.
Yeah, and just an additional fact that I found out a couple of weeks ago doing a little bit of research, it was very interesting to find out that the sandbank actually in the Dogger Bank area belongs to the sea waters of 4 different countries. So it's Dutch, German, UK and Swedish waters. So
There you
There you
go.
go.
A font of
Populated
useful information. Can I have another ball, please?
We will. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. It is 20 ecology dogs.
Ecology dogs. What could this mean? This is a story about Lola, not a showgirl, but a Sprocker Spaniel. And Lola was employed to sniff out and find water voles, of all things, on the East Riding cable corridor. So water voles are a protected species. In order for us to kind of dig the corridors and lay cables there, we needed to make sure that we were protecting them and keeping them safe so as not to come to any harm while we did that. So yeah, that's Lola, Sprocker Spaniel, or an ecology dog. So Dogger Bank jobs not just for humans. As the,
Not
yeah.
just for humans.
fantastic.
Jobs for all.
Good stuff. We must be getting close now to the end.
Let's see. 32, 6 million. This one is for me. So 6 million comes from the production that we are expecting at Dogger Bank throughout the 3 phases. So in total, it's going to be electricity production expected of 18 terawatt hours per year. And I know that that figure alone doesn't really mean much, but if you think about what the UK government statistics say about what is the average electricity consumption of household between 3.1 to 3.6 megawatt hours per year, that means that Dogger Bank, the 3 phases, would be able to power up to 6 million UK homes. And when thinking about the electricity demand for the UK as a whole, that is around 6% of the electricity demand only provided by Dogger Bank. So it's really, really impressive. And just to add a last thing before we go on to the next board, one thing that a colleague of ours really likes to say is that one single rotation of the blades of the Haliade X is able to power one of these average UK households for 2 full days.
God, you can't shut you up once you get
I know, I was waiting for this.
I admire your passion, but we have bingo. So Luke in Glasgow has also won a wind turbine.
Brilliant.
Let's see if we can have some more winners. Pick another ball.
31, HVDC.
I'm in a row now.
Keep it.
Yes.
Give it a shot.
So yeah, that's my favourite board of the entire bingo, and I'm an electrical engineer, but I'm part of the HVDC team in Dogger Bank. So there's 3 firsts that we wanted to share with you in terms of the HVDC connection. So Dogger Bank is the first HVDC connected wind farm in the UK. It's the first HVDC unmanned platform in the world. And once connected in 2023, it'll be the largest HVDC project of its kind in the world as well. So we've got 1.2 gigawatts, and the previous largest one was 0.8 gigawatts. So it's a 50% increase, which is pretty significant. And for the people that might be interested a little bit more on the technical side, Hitachi Energy is providing technology, as Steve said earlier, and it's the HVDC light, which, talking about sustainability, is one of the technologies with the lowest environmental footprints because of its compact design and the very low losses. And it's a voltage source converter and symmetrical monopole configuration. Just in case you never know who's watching, so.
I can speak for hours on that.
Fantastic.
But I know Richard wants me to keep this spinning around. Oh, wait.
So
It is.
I'm hearing from colleagues that actually we're getting loads of winners now. So we
Ooh.
might actually have to get back in touch with you afterwards. But, if you think you've won, you probably have. We'll be in touch. But I think I've maybe just broken my heart. But, Jane from Glasgow has also got bingo. So there's obviously quite a few people here for COP that are playing along. But if we can have another ball, please.
And that ball is financing. Felicity.
Financing. So the world's largest offshore wind farm needs some pretty big financing, and we were really lucky to actually get that. So we had the world's largest investment in offshore wind with a landmark 5.5 billion investment for Dogger Bank A and B. So it really was significant. We're also really excited that any day now we'll be able to hopefully announce financial close and final investment decision for Dogger Bank C, so that's imminent as well. But overall, for Dogger Bank A, B and C, the collective wind farm, it represents about a 9 billion capex investment for us. So yeah, really, really good stuff.
And that 5.5 billion deal was done virtually?
Oh, completely remotely, yeah.
During the
Really,
process.
really
Yeah,
amazing to be able to do.
So we've got 30 commercial lenders signed up, basically at our kitchen tables over the COVID period. So quite an impressive thing to do.
Brilliant. Right, we'll get spinning.
Yep.
HSE.
HSE, so health, safety and environment. I get all the acronyms. Yeah, I mean, like health and safety in particular, one of the key focuses for all of the shareholders on Dogger Bank, really key focus for me. You know, I think it's something that is at the heart of everything we do. And, you know, we speak about it at every meeting that we have. We have a very focused discussion on health and safety within the broader Dogger Bank team every week. And we share lots of really interesting information at that really helps the team stay safe, but also information that we can help our contractors stay safe at as well. And also we have to think about not only the construction work that we're doing, but how we design the facility. So, you know, Felicity and our team are going to be working on Dogger Bank for many, many years to come. So everything about how equipment is transferred from the SOVs onto the foundations, into the turbine, all of these things have to be thought through. The minimal facilities platform design, you know, how we access those, how we construct them, how we install cables, how we install the foundations. Everything is subject to a number of processes to make sure that you know, the risk to people is reduced to as low as reasonably practicable. So big focus area for us.
Number one priority.
I think this will likely be our last word. So if you pick the last
Make it
word,
a good
and then
one.
I'm going to wrap up Dogger Bank Bingo. But yeah, go for it.
Okay, and this is number 34, and it's the operational life.
Yeah, we've touched on this one as well before, but the idea is that, well, initially when we were designing Dogger Bank, we designed for a 25-year design life. And then through various technological developments and digitalization, which Felicity touched on as well, we are able to now say that we can expect a lifetime of 35 years, which is a 10-year improvement. And this is fantastic. We want to ensure that these assets, we get the most out of them. And we send electricity to the UK for as long as possible. And 35 years isn't necessarily a cap. We'll decide later on if that can even be extended further.
Good stuff. Right, so we hope you enjoyed Dogger Bank Bingo. I'm hearing from the backroom team that we've had loads of winners now. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I don't think everyone will get a prize, but though everyone who got I think the first 10, maybe 15 prizes, they'll be awarded in that order. So we'll be in touch after the well, after today, quite frankly, but just thanks to everyone that played, wherever in the world you were, and thanks to my colleagues here. And that's it from Dogger Bank Bingo.